What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we have another regional support, and this time we have Nick and Kiernan, who got top 4. Nick got top 4 in Masters, and Kiernan got top 4 in junior, Seniors. Yeah, Seniors. And they both play the same deck here, same 60 cards list, and it's a Sableye Garbodor deck. Now, usually with these decks, you see the Garbage Collection Trubbish, but we see that this time they play the Tool Drop Trubbish. Of course, we talk about that. They talk about the Jirachi. They talk about the Vrizian, which I really do like the Jirachi for turn 1 to get whatever kind of supporter you need. They also play the Hex Maniac, what we talk about, and they also play the Blend Energy as well to help out with the Vrizian because it counts as a Grass type, Dark, Psychic, and a Fire type. So that way you can use the Tool Drop, you can have the ability, have the Verdict Wind on your Sableye, so that way lasers aren't putting you to sleep. And we also talk about the Trick Shuffle as well. But hope you enjoyed this interview, and thanks for watching. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another regionals question and answer. And you see we have 2 people instead of 1. If you just want to introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Kiernan. My accomplishment that I'm most proud of is last season I got second at 2 states.
I'm Nick Robinson, and we both finished in top 4 at Fort Wayne Regionals. Kiernan in Seniors, me in Masters with Sableye Garbodor.
All right, there we go. All right, so we already just saw your Sableye Garbodor, and before we talk about the deck list, let's talk about your matches and how they went. And I know we just had a rock, paper, scissors game to see who actually determined who went first. So who's going first?
I won. Or wait, no, you
No,
won.
I won. I said you were going
You go first. Okay. So basically, I mean, there's a lot more to this. We didn't just decide to play it. Obviously, we were up testing till 4 a.m. Nick was pretty much set on this. Austin Baggs showed us the original list. We changed a few cards. And I kept switching from deck to deck because I don't like having bad matchups in Seniors because they just play whatever I want. And then eventually at 4 a.m. I decided I'd just play this. Just pray I avoided all the Yveltal. So, of course, round 1 I play Yveltal. So, except this kid was sort of newer to the game. He didn't really know how to play the matchup. He was still benching everything normally. He played Hoopa, and he benched that, that pretty much sealed the game. And, like, he was using his Dark Patches early. He was using them, rather than using them as recovery, he was using them to be aggressive with his Night Spear plays and with his Evil Ball plays. And so that ended up costing him the game. I won that game at, like, 40 minutes. And then, you know, there's no way you can play a game against Sableye Garbodor in 10 minutes. So that was that. Round 2, I played against Gyarados. So the first game, he didn't know what I was playing. Because I mulliganed once, and so he saw the Dark Energy, but he didn't see anything else important. Just like Ultra Balls, VS Seekers, Junipers. So he thought I was playing Yveltal. And so I started Shaman, and so he thought he was safe. So he had a first turn with Toad, and he Hoopa'd, and he went all out, and he drew through a lot of his deck, and he attached a double colorless turn 1. But he whiffed the Muscle Band. So then next turn, I start off, I Crushing Hammer, discard the double colorless, Headringer him, just Ultra Ball, get my Sable out, start burning through my deck. He concedes turn 3. Then game 2, it was pretty much the same thing. There's nothing he could do. He just conceded early on. It's a really tough matchup for the Gyarados player. So, round 3, what did I play against? I played against Hex Quaza, and that's our other matchup that we hope to play against because it's just really easy for us. So I went first, and, you know, all you have to do, we have Jirachi, which makes getting Hex really easy. If you go first, all you have to do is just Jirachi for Hex. And that can honestly be, even if you don't get anything out, that can be your first turn because, I mean, it shuts them down. And so not only did I get that out, I got the Sableye with the Life Dew and the Dark Energy, and I had the Trubbish and the Tool, and I ended my turn by hexing. So then next turn I didn't have anything great in my hand. I think I had just like a 0-6 or something, and then I topped with Juniper. So then it's just all in, and I get the Garb. And there's nothing much he can do. He just tries to play the clock and sort of play for a tie, but eventually I run him out of energy, and that deck's fast enough that when it's time to start milling them, it's pretty much over. So then, round 4, this was my only loss of the day. Actually played against Gyarados, which is not something you want to lose against. I started Jirachi both games, and I drew terribly both games, and like, I didn't start with anything I could use turn one, and then by turn two, once he had the lock, I remember game one. I had the Ultra Ball. I top decked the Ultra Ball turn two, but he'd already started the lock, so there's nothing I could do. So eventually, I just ended up conceding that series twice. Because the second game, I was kind of trying to stick it out, at least playing it to time, to kind of figure out, maybe I can pull this one out, maybe I can force the tie, but also really had to go to the bathroom, so I ended up just conceding.
Seniors meta. Seniors plays.
So then, round 5, I played against Archie Stoyce, and so he goes first, and anytime Archie Stoyce goes first, no matter what you're playing, you have to be a little worried. And so he battle compressors. He just looks at me. Oh no. He prized both of his Blastoise. And so I look at him and he's like, I'm playing this out. I'm playing this like a champ. And I mean, I would have scooped immediately. I would have gone for the tie. But he tried to play it like a champ. He had Kyurem. He attached water. And so eventually I just started this chain with Crushing Hammer. Every time he attached a water energy, I just Crushing Hammer it off. And the one time he got a Frost Beer, because I made sure I always had at least 2 Crushing Hammers in my hand at any given time. And so, the only time I missed both my hammers, and he got off a Frost Beer, I hit both heads next turn. So that was that. And then, with Superior Energy Retrieval, I did the math. There are 11 energy to start with. Each Superior Energy Retrieval is another 4 energy. So that's 27 energy that you have to discard per game. And I discarded all 27 energy before I started milling with Bunnelby. Because I wasn't about to let him do anything. And so I won that game at around 45 minutes. And then he just scooped the series. He couldn't pull one out in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, what did I play round 6? Jeez. Honestly can't remember what I played against rounds. Oh, yeah. I played against Jean-Luc Maudry, 2014 juniors runner-up for national champion. He was playing Manectric, Keldeo, Garbodor. And so all I had to do with that was just Headringer, Manectric. And so it was a fairly easy matchup. There's nothing much you could do. Because, Manectric is good against lock decks in general, except with this lock deck, if they can't attack, there's just nothing they can do. And, the reason it tends to be so good against lock decks is because it's like you can consistently do damage, and you can consistently heal off their damage. But when you're not doing damage, when damage isn't part of the equation, there's just nothing much they can do.
True.
And then round 7, I played against his brother, David Maudry, and I was up paired. He was 501 and I was 5-1, so I was in a position where I was guaranteed cut, so I could just ID in. He actually ended up winning regionals, so that was pretty cool. So then top 8, I played against 3 islands made top 8. One at 1st seed, one at 3rd, and then myself at 6th seed. And since one was at 3rd and I was at 6th, that obviously meant I had to play another island in top 8. And he was playing Gyarados. So this was actually the same island that beat me in the finals of Nebraska States. So this was kind of revenge. Game 1, he didn't really know how to play against the deck very well because he never played against it, and he didn't really test against it. So he didn't, because what you do in the matchup, all you do is, you put down one Toad, and then just keep attaching double colorless energy, whether they flare grunt off your energy or not. Just build up as many energy as you can. Sure. And pray that they don't run you out of energy or deck you out. But, so, he didn't know how to play the matchup. So I was able to steal the first game. The second game, he kind of figured out what he was doing, and he played the matchup really well. But it's also, it's just a really great matchup for me. So eventually, I got rid of all his energies, and so he just sat there kind of draw passing for a few turns. We both kind of knew what was happening, but I couldn't get the energy for Bunnelby, so he just kind of had to keep passing it back and forth. Until eventually I got the energy on a Bunnelby. He hammered my active Sableye, so I didn't have an out to retreat. And so he drew his card. He had about 9 cards left in deck. I'd been junk hunting for a few turns, so I had an 18-card hand. And so he has 9 cards left in deck. He goes, we're going to have some fun. He plays down Getsis. and he draws the rest of his deck. He gets us his away 14 cards. He can only draw 9. And so that was top 8. So top 4, I got absolutely bodied. I played against the Mirror, Alex Kreckler. He was the one who beat me in Kansas State's finals. I didn't get revenge this time. He played what we played, except he played lasers in his. I felt like they weren't necessary, but they definitely came in clutch in the Mirror. Because while we play Virizion, they can discard all your blend energy with Enhanced Hammer and whatnot, and then they've got they have Garbodor, which shuts down Virizion altogether. So there's not much I could have done. And he took the series 2-0. The second game I did almost win though, because I got 4 turns straight of tool dropping for knockouts. Because I purposely game 1. I ran out of all my blends early, so I purposely I didn't Juniper, and I made a point of never making it known to him that the tool drop I played was tool drop Trubbish. And so then game 2, I benched Trubbish early on, and then I didn't have a Sableye, and I was going to Juniper anyway, so I attached to Trubbish, and then I Junipered, which was also really convenient for me, because then he thought, maybe I was just attaching because, I was Junipering. I had to discard the energy anyways, and so he never really drew the conclusion that I could tool drop. And then later in the game, it was just kind of sitting on the bench. He never really did anything about it. And, I never went to set up Garbodor because there's no point. And so then eventually I just attached a blend, and then I tool dropped for 4 turns straight, taking prizes until I Enhanced Hammered away my last blend. And my Super Rod was prize. So was my Life Dew. I had a lot of crucial stuff prize that game, which kind of sucked. But so, it ended up that he got rid of the energy on my Trubbish. There's nothing I could do. And so I just conceded that game. And that was the end of my run.
Yeah. It's top 4 still great, so congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We got this mat. I'll move it back. Is that...
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, the Groudon mat, yeah, it looks nice.
Mm-hmm. I really like it. It's replaced my Worlds mat already. Alright. Nick?
Okay, so I played the same deck, but I played in Masters. Obviously, I have my phone here just to recall all my matches because I had a lot, so it's hard for me to remember all of them.
That's true.
So round 1, I played against a metal deck, and she didn't really understand what the concept of my deck was. So she was a little confused as to what was happening. She was just trying to attack, and it wasn't working for her. But it was actually funny because game 1, I had both my Garbodors prized, and to prevent Bronzong from coming into play, or from working, I had to junk hunt for VS Seeker and use Hex Maniac every single turn, just so that she couldn't get energies back. And then the next game, both of my Trubbishes were prized, so I had to do the same thing again. Yeah, that was a fun round. So I won that round. That was pretty easy. Round 2, I played against Gyarados, and that pretty much went exactly how you would expect the matchup to go. Just get rid of all their DCEs, and pretty much if they ever attach to a Giratina, they're in a bad spot because that usually means that they didn't Quaking Punch, and it usually means that you're going to be able to get their energy off really easily.
True.
So yeah, that was an easy 2 rounds win. Round 3, I went against Sceptile Ariados, which was kind of weird, but he was kind of a newer player. He had just started 3 months ago, so good for him for winning his first 2 rounds. But yeah, that's a pretty easy matchup. You just Crushing Hammer all day, and they just really can't get set up because they can only attach 1 energy per turn.
Was he one of the ones that played Archeops?
No, he didn't play Archeops.
Oh, because that deck was floating around.
Yeah.
Sceptile, Ariados, Archeops.
Okay. Well, so round 4, I actually played against Xander Bennett with his famous Hex Quaza deck, and that went exactly how you expect that matchup to go. You just get a Headringer on a Hoopa, Lysander it, and they pretty much just can't do anything because they have to try and have a fully powered Quaza and then use a DCE to retreat the Hoopa, and it was pretty easy. Round 5, I played against Eviltal, which is one of your rough matchups, just because of the fact that because Dark Patch can come in for some big game hits, and the baby Eviltal can also get energies back. But I actually did pretty well. I was able to Lysander up a Darkrai with a Headringer game 1 because I don't think he really knew what was happening. So, but then they can always like Dark Patch and then DCE retreat, which he did. But then next turn you just Lysander up the Darkrai again, and they're back in the same spot.
Yeah, true.
And then the second game, I'm pretty sure it just went to time. Yeah, he couldn't really do anything. Round 6, I played against Toad Giratina, and game 1 went well. I just did everything I normally would do, just got rid of all the DCEs. Game 2, I had a rough start, and he was just able to get the upper hand on me just because I was dead drawing, so he won that game. And then it went to time, game 3, so I ended up with a tie for that round. Round 7, I played against Toad Giratina again. And I played against Toad Giratina all day, dude. It was bad.
Yeah.
So round 7, I went against Toad Giratina, and I was going through, just discarding all of his energies, and he was just doing nothing for a really long time. And there was a point where I had a Blend Energy in my hand, and I was going to Juniper, and I had a Tool Drop Trubbish on my bench. So I was like, why not? I attached the Blend to Trubbish just to see what happens. And so I believe the next turn, he still wasn't doing anything. So I just attached the Dark to Trubbish, and I started Tool Dropping. First, I did Tool Drop, did 120 Seismitoad. Next turn, he still didn't do anything. Tool Drop again, get a knockout on Seismitoad. He promotes, I think he promotes another Seismitoad, but he benches a Mewtwo EX. So I Lysander up the Mewtwo, Tool Drop the Mewtwo for a knockout, and he promotes a Seismitoad again, and I just Lysander up a Jirachi and win game 1 by Tool Dropping for 6 prizes. It was so great. And then game 2 went is exactly how the Gyarados matchup usually goes. Just get all their DC and they can't do anything. So that was a win. Round 8, I went against Tyrantrum Giratina Bronzong, and that was pretty rough for me. I just never really got to draw what I needed to. I don't think I was ever able to get Garbodor set up. And he also played Tool Scrapper. So when I did get Garbodor set up, he would just Tool Scrapper to get his energy acceleration back on. And so that was rough. And I'm pretty sure he actually ended up decking me out game 2 because I had the Juniper for something. I don't exactly remember what, but I had 4 cards in my hand and 2 in my deck, and he plays N, and of course I haven't taken any prizes, so I draw 6, and then I lost the game that way. It was actually really sad, considering the fact that I'm never supposed to deck out ever, but It happened. And then round 9, I just tied. I just ID'd to guarantee myself day 2.
Wasn't that Brent Stratton?
Yeah, Brett Stratton. I ID'd to him just to guarantee day 2.
Sure.
And so day 2, I actually played against 3 of the same people I played day 1. So that was fun. Round 1 of day 2, I played against the same Giratina Toad player that I Tool Dropped against. Except he learned how to play the matchup, I guess, where he was just really conservative with his double colorless energies and using Sky Return to make sure that I would never get rid of his energies. So he played the matchup really well, and I lost round 1. And I was a little scared because I knew that from that point on I was going to have to win out to make it to top 8 because I was 6-2-2 at the time. And then the next round, I played against the same Giratina Toad player that I tied against, except that game, I was able to get rid of a lot of his super scoop ups and VS Seekers and all that stuff early on. So I was able to win that pretty quickly. One thing about the Giratina Toad matchup is that even though it's pretty easy to win for the most part, super scoop up can be really annoying because they can get rid of your head ringers, which makes it so that they can use Toad, which they do that pretty often.
Yeah, true.
It's also super frail. Like, you can match up hangs by a thread. If you miss a crucial turn, then you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I won that round, and then the next round I played against the Giratina Bronzong Tyrantrum player that I played day one, and I was just like, oh dang, he already knows how to play this. I mean, he played it pretty well yesterday, so that was scary. But game one, I specifically remember that I was able to trick shovel and get rid of his tool scrapper. So I was like, okay, awesome. I'm good to set up Garbodor. That made me really happy. Because once I was able to set up Garbodor, I was just able to go off, getting rid of all of his energies, and he just wasn't really able to do anything. And then game two went pretty smoothly as well. I think I might have milled his tool scrapper again, or I forced him to use it early. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was really good. I was really happy with it. And then the round 4 of day 2, I played against Eviltall, and that was, so I'm pretty sure I won game 1, but then he won game 2, and we went into game 3, and I had the lock going, and he knew that he wasn't really going to be able to do anything, and he also knew that if we went to time, we would, of course we would tie, and that neither of us would probably make it into top 8.
True.
So he scooped to me, realizing that I had the lock. So that was really nice of him. Shout outs to Jimmy McClure. That was a respectful move.
Good job, coach.
Yeah. And then the final round of day 2 Swiss, I played against Seismitoad Bats, and I was just getting rid of his energies super easily. I got a Garbodor set up, so his bats essentially did nothing, and it was just really good for me. He couldn't really do anything because he essentially just relied on his 4 double colorless, and I got rid of those pretty quickly.
That's true.
Yeah, I specifically remember that I played an N, and I drew into a hand with 2 Team Flare Guns and a Zerosic. And I'm pretty sure I'd already gotten rid of 1 or 2 of his double colorless. So I'm like, yeah, I'm set for the game.
Just don't end me.
Play an energy, I dare you.
I don't even think I kept that hand literally the entire game, and I don't think I ever ended up actually using any of the double colorless, any of the Team Flare Guns or 06, because he wasn't attaching them because I got head ringers on his Seismitoads.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. So there I was 10-2, made it into top 8 at 4th seed, and top 8 I played against a Vespiquen Flareon deck, and that's probably one of the deck's toughest matchups, just because of the fact that if they use Blacksmith effectively, it's gonna be really hard for me to deal with that, because I'm gonna have to get most likely a Team Flare Gun and a Crushing Hammer heads on their Flareon, and then they can just VS Seeker for Blacksmith and do the same thing again next turn.
Yeah.
So that's scary. Yeah. So game 1, it went pretty well for me. I'm pretty sure I won game 1. I'm pretty sure I won game 1. Just getting rid of his energies, and I'm pretty sure I only used Blacksmith once, so that was good for me. And I got rid of his double colorless energies pretty easily. Game 2, I believe he won because he got to a point where he attached a fire energy and used Blacksmith onto a Flareon, and so he had 3 energies. I'm just like, I had a bad hand, so I couldn't get all the energies off. So I scooped game 2. Game 3, I specifically remember that he had to Juniper away a double colorless energy, and I was just like, oh, dang. Because that's just so bad for them.
Yeah.
And then he only got to use Blacksmith once, and then I was just, since he wasn't attaching energies, I was junk hunting for Trick Shovel a lot, and I remember one turn I Trick Shoveled away a DCE, then the next turn I Trick Shoveled away his last VS Seeker, and then he just scooped, so that was the game.
That was pretty satisfying to watch happen from the outside.
Oh, it was satisfying from the inside too, bud.
Except for your opponent. That's the only one who wasn't satisfied.
Sorry, Simon. But top 4, I played against Frank Diaz on stream. Feel free to go check that out on twitch.tv/Pokemon. I'm pretty sure you can rewatch the
it's
stream.
Still up there.
Yeah,
I watched
still up
it
there.
during study hall today.
But yeah, so I played on stream. Game 1, Frank won. He played the matchup pretty well, and I just wasn't able to get his energy off of his Pokemon.
Didn't you miss Sableye during all that?
I don't think I actually ever junk hunted game 1. I don't remember actually attacking game 1, so that was rough. I just couldn't do anything. Game 2, I actually had a really bad start. I think he Getsissed me. If I remember right, he Getsissed me, and I had no cards in hand, and I started with Jirachi, and just everything was bad. But I ended up top decking out of it, and then he played out the full game, which made it so that, of course, we went way into time. But I won that game. And then game 3, I had the lock going, and I was set up to win, but then time was called, and he was able to have taken 3 prizes, so that made it so that game 3 counted. So that's how I lost in top 4. If there wouldn't have been a time limit, I probably would have won. But time is a thing, and you just gotta deal with it.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, still, top 4 is very great, and this was your first regionals, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes, this was my first regionals.
There you go. So top 4 for your first regionals. Can't complain at all.
No, I can't complain.
Yeah, I'll take that for sure.
Definitely good.
All right. Now, you talk about the tool drop Trubbish a lot. Did you put that Trubbish in your deck to tool drop, or did you just not have the other Trubbish, or what was the reason behind it?
I don't know about Nick, but I left my Noble Victories Trubbish. I think they still might be right over there on the other side of my room. I just forgot to bring them. I set them out, and I just forgot to grab them. And I remembered when we were loading up the car Friday morning to leave. I was like, I think I've got the good Trubbish inside. And then I kind of thought about it for a while. Is it worth going back inside to get them? No, I probably won't need them. And then Austin Baggs actually played this in the original list. He played Tool Drop Trubbish, except he didn't play blends. He didn't have all of the Noble Victories Trubbish were decked. And he goes, and then sometimes when I play these down, my opponents think that I'm gonna try to Tool Drop them, so they Lysander my Trubbishes, and I get to use Sableye for free.
I actually wanted to tool drop. I put it in thinking, hey, I could tool drop at some point, and I did. So
I mean, we both did, so it seems like it was pretty worth it.
It was definitely worth it.
I think if you're ever in a situation that you actually need to use Garbage Collection, you're probably going to lose anyways. So
I mean, Garbage Collection isn't that bad. It's pretty similar to just using Junk Hunt, except you only get one card.
Yeah, you can get any card, which is kind of cute, but
Yeah.
I feel like, if you miss the Junk Hunt, that can be crucial. Unless you're missing it to tool drop for game.
True. Except if you're tool dropping for game, that implies that you had to tool drop for 4 turns before.
That's not important.
Or maybe your opponent got a quadruple prize penalty or something, or I don't know.
Or they only had 1 Pokemon out.
Whole lot of deck issues.
That actually could have been clutch if your opponent tries to play the game where they only put out 1 Pokemon and then you tool drop and knock out their 1 Pokemon. That'd be awesome, actually. I would love that.
I mean, do you even have enough tools in your deck to even do that if they have 1 Pokemon out?
No.
Unless that Pokemon has 140 HP or less, no.
Well, I mean,
Or wait,
like,
no.
they could, like, head ringer your Shaymins or something, and
Yeah,
then you
they
have
could.
more tools to
Or
play.
wait, no, because 3 of those tools are head ringers. So, I mean, unless it's an EX, unless it's like a Shaman or a Jirachi. If it's a Shaman, they have to head ringer one of your Shaman. Then you can do it. But
Well, I mean, they could attach a muscle band to their active or something.
yeah, I mean, that could have been a thing.
Or you can just knock
There's
out
also,
like a Eldon or
they're
something.
just a ton of low HP or like basics in general. Trebuchets,
Mhm.
bunnies, Sableyes.
Of course, only mention the things from our deck.
Well, I mean, those are the only ones I could think of.
They're the only ones that matter.
Night Marchers, Combies,
Fritzies.
Bronzors. Bronzor is a little bit harder because they have psychic resistance, so you're effectively killing a Jirachi for 1 prize.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, no, because then Jirachi has this is as well. So.
Oh yeah,
can-
that's true.
But you can head ringer a Jirachi, you can't head ringer a Bronzor.
Oh yeah,
That is
that's very
one thing.
So it
true.
kind of actually evens out when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't see my opponents muscle band their Jirachis very often. that might just be a seniors thing, though.
Unless they like muscle band it to end to try to draw more Pokemon or something. I don't know. That's the only thing I can see.
Or they're doing what I do when I play fairies and make it my goal to win every single game by ending it with Hypno Strike. So that's probably not a good game plan. I feel like Colton Day wouldn't be very proud of me for that one.
But if it gives you a win, we'll take it.
But technically, a Jirachi with a Mustband can knock out Sableye.
Okay, so I got a question for both y'all here. It's a lot of people that ask me, how do you decide when to transfer from Sableye to Bunnelby?
Once your opponent's out of energies, you just circulate Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer until your opponent has no more energy left, and then you mill.
Yeah.
Or they're in a position where, like, if they've got a Toad active and it's got a head ringer, there's no way it's getting out of the active spot. I mean, it's okay. Maybe they have 1 or 2 Double Dragon left, but if they're out of DC and there's nothing they can do, then you can start transitioning to Bunnelby. You just win.
Yeah.
It's basically just you force your opponent into a stalemate where they can't really do anything, and that's when you start finally using Bunnelby. I mean, there have been games. Sometimes the game just draws itself out naturally, where it gets to the point where you don't even need to use Bunnelby.
Most of the time, people just scoop.
If prizes weren't
true.
a thing, I'd definitely just play 1 Bunnelby. But prizes are a thing, unfortunately.
Okay. I guess the next question here is we see some Sableye Garbodor decks, they play Trick Shovel, some don't play Trick Shovel. Why did y'all decide to play the 1 Trick Shovel? Not 2, just the 1 Trick Shovel.
So, essentially, the list that Austin Bags gave us, we played 2, but we wanted to make room for consistency cards. We wanted to put in a Jirachi so that we could, like, Jirachi for the T1 Hex or just... Jirachi's also really good against Toad Giratina to get a Team Flare Gun or whatever. And so we took out 1 Trick Shovel for that. We thought Trick Shovel was good enough to warrant a spot just because you can always like junk hunt for, say, a Trick Shovel and a VS Seeker just so you have options for next turn.
And it's essentially a top deck control card.
It's also a top deck control card. I feel like I'd rather play consistency cards over having the 2. It was a big difference.
But I mean, it can be clutch. If you're maintaining block, you can Trick Shovel them. See they're gonna draw a Garbodor or something. They don't even have Trubbish out, and even if it wouldn't really matter. So you put the Garbodor back on. But say you Trick Shovel and their top cards like a VS Seeker or double colorless, you can just discard that. And it's essentially basically forcing them to draw what you want them to draw.
Yeah. Like if you can just put a Pokemon on top, then it's a good lock for you.
Bruni.
All right. Now, is there anything from the list that you would change? Like maybe a card that you wanted or a card that you thought wasn't that great in the list?
I would have changed my entire deck. I feel like had I played Primal Kyogre, I would have won. So...
personally, I think I would have dropped 1 Bunnelby for a different card. Just because of the fact that people scooped so often that I pretty much never actually got to use Bunnelby.
I would have liked a counter Shadem would be nice. Like a Champions Festival. We started testing that after regionals. Or a single copy of Laser would be fun.
Yeah. either probably a single laser, a counter stadium of some sorts, a battle compressor to get rid of items so you can junk hunt for them, or even a second trick shovel, just because I feel like that would have actually helped me a lot in my top 4 matchup where Frank decided to play out the whole game because he knew that it would go to time, which was smart of him. But yeah.
Alrighty. Do you want to give me a shout out to anybody?
I have a whole lot of shout outs. So Nick, if you have any, you should probably go first.
I'll give out the shout out to Austin Baggs for giving us the base list. That was really cool of him. Shout out to one of my close friends and testing partners, Trey Rouse, for doing well at his first regionals too. He went 5-3-1. I was pretty proud of him for that one. And yeah, that was...
Okay, so first off, obviously shouts to Austin Baggs for giving us the list and giving us a start point. Because, I mean, I was just talking with him the night before regionals. I can't decide what to play. He goes, Sableye's the play. So, I mean, I trust Austin Baggs. He's a nice guy. So I'm like, I'll hear him out. It sounds a little crazy. Because at that point, I still kind of thought that Sableye didn't have a great Toad matchup. But he was pretty confident when he told me that Sableye was the play. So, I tested the list, showed it to Nick, and then we really liked it. We changed a couple cards. So, definitely shout out to Trey for being such a great testing partner and for bringing his little sister along, who also played in her first regionals in juniors. Shout out to my stepdad for taking us there. Shout out to John Ang for being John Ang. Shout out to Hayden Jacobs and all of Team C for helping me out within testing. And shout out to Jeffrey Chang for convincing me that Lando Bats definitely was not the play, despite the fact that in the week leading up to regionals, I was 100% sure that I was going to win Fort Wayne regionals with Lando Bats.
He was.
But Jeffrey Chang told me, no, that's a terrible play. And we have this group message, so I was talking to them the night before. I was like, so I'm looking at Sableye Garbodor, but I'm not confident in decks that can't take prizes. I think I might just play Lando Bats. I feel like it just doesn't have any relevant bad matchups. Because, I mean, why would anyone be playing Archie Stoice? He goes, they're seniors. They play whatever they want. So, bringing me back down to earth, pretty much saving me from going 0-2 drop.
Oh. And shout out to Kyle Sukovich for thinking that Kiernan was my little brother.
Yeah, that was on stream because I was talking to him. I was like, I'm so proud of Nick. This is his first regionals ever. And so in his top 4 matchup, Kyle Sukovich goes, yeah, I was actually talking to Nick Robinson's little brother who played this deck to a top 4 finish in seniors. This is Nick's first regionals. So, I mean...
That made my day.
At St. Louis, I'll have to roast him a little about that. No biggie. Oh, yeah, shout out to Alex Kreckler for playing the same list.
Well, same deck, not same list.
No, yeah, same deck. Sydney Morasole for helping me do a lot of my testing and for doing well with bees in both Lancaster and Fort Wayne. And just shout out to... Oh, I'm getting a text. Shout out to everyone who's just there to help us. And shout out to all the awesome people at our league that were there to congratulate us when we got back.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this interview, guys. Once again, congrats on top 4. Hopefully, y'all have a great cities run. It'd be cool if y'all get like the 200 points, whatever y'all need, because almost guarantees y'all's the invites at that point.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
You're at how many are you at? 130.
Yeah, 130.
And then I'm at 150 because I also made cut up to Boston Open.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing the Chicago Marathon, so we're
yeah. And then y'all gonna go ahead to St. Louis regionals for sure.
Probably, yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, hopefully at St. Louis you'll have another great run. Both getting top 4 again. That'd be pretty cool. But
heck yeah.
Actually, I don't hope we get top 4. I hope we both win.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
all
win. Exactly.
Same deck, same finish. Let's go.
Yeah, same deck, same finish. That'd be cool again if y'all did that. All right, but thanks for everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, congrats to these 2 guys getting top 4 here. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye.
One more shout out to our Pokemon channel, the Pokemon Tropes, spelled TROUPE. Make sure to go check that out. We try to get
the link in the description.
And check the link in the description.
Right down there.
We try to get out videos as often as we can. We will also be doing our own regionals report, all that fun stuff. We do pack openings, deck analysis, all the fun stuff. So yeah, make sure to check that out.
See you all at Titties.
3, just guys. Okay.
Rock,
Paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
And the winner gets to pick.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh no.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, you go first.
Okay.